Welcome back, everybody. Today we are going to see the book uh, Grows Hackers Marketing by Ryan Holiday. This book just have main 7 takeaways that we need to understand to just implement the product or service that we are going to serve the society in the market, right? How we are going to do all the stuff will be discussed in this video, so just give your attention till the video is finished. So the first takeaway that we need to take from this book is what? Product market fit. That means you have to just prioritize the product. It must be market fit, right? It must be fit in the market. That means the product market fit means just having a product that meets the need of what? The market, right? It's about just ensuring your product or the service solves what? Genuine problems, or it fulfills a significant need of the society or the people or the market, right? How that will be just fulfill a significant the need of, or how genuinely solve the problem of society. The first one is you have to identify what? The target audience, right? To achieve this, you have to identify your target audience. That means your target society, maybe the community. You have to understand their problem, right? So you have to determine who your potential customers are, and you have to understand what? Their point of view, right? Or their pain. What are the pain of society? What are the pain of the people who you are just going to serve, who you are going to just give your product, right? So you have to understand them closely. The pain is the problem that you are going to solve, right? The second step that help us to achieve this market fit strategy is what? Develop and test what? MVP, or minimum viable product. You have to develop and you have to test your minimum viable products, right? You have to create a minimum viable products and get into front of what? The releasers or customers to what? Gather feedback, to gather more information about your product, right? First you have to just develop that product, then you have to just what? Test with a minimum viable product, right? Without just producing a lot of stuff, right? So once you test that, whether it's applicable or not, whether they love it or not, you got to gather some feedback or information about your service, your product, right? Then you have to iterate based on the feedback, right? You have to iterate based on the feedback. That means you have to use the feedback to what? To refine and to to improve what? Your products until it effectively address the need of what? Your target market or the customers, right? You know, once you develop and test your minimal viable products, then once you just get the feedback from the side, from the customers, from the target audience, and you have to take that feedback to refine, to refine and to improve your product again, right? So what is the importance of doing all this stuff, right? Without just product market fit, what? No amount of marketing effort just can't be sustained long-term growth. It will never be long run. In the long run, it will never be applicable if you are not going to have a feedback from the customers, right? So your product should be what? Market fit, right? It must be real product that the customers want. That must be the product that solve the problem of your society, the problem of the customers, the real pain of the customers. That is how you gonna just serve them in long run. But if the product you are just serving is not just the real, or is not genuine, right? So it doesn't just happen in the long run, right? So it is what? The foundation upon which all other growth strategies are built, right? Once your product is market fit, right? So all other stuff will be just okay, right? So the second takeaway that we need to take from this book is what? Focus on data, right? You have to gather data feedback, right? And you have to focus on the data to improve your product. That means you have to use a data-driven approach, right? That means data provides what? Insights into what customers' behaviors and the preference and how they interact with your product, right? Once you just use the data, once you are gathering the feedback, the data, just that data will provide you what? The insight, the information into your customers' behavior, the preference of the customers, and how they interact with your product, right? Once you answer that, you can improve, you can refine, you can just expand your product, right? So key metrics to track, how we are going to just track this process, right? The first is what? Customer acquisition cost, right? Customer acquisition cost, that means just how much it costs to acquire a new customer, how we are going to bring new customers, right? The second one is customer lifetime value, that means the total revenue you can expect from a customer over the lifespan of the relationship with your company, right? So the other one is churn rate, that means the rate at which what? Customers stop using your product, right? You have to have those informations, right? The other one is engagement metrics, the engagement metrics, that means maybe users, maybe, or customers activity, their retention rate, and other engagement indicators, right? So you have to understand those analytics, right? Once you have those analytics, you have to what? Modify your product as needed, right? So the other step to implement this is what? Set up analytic what? Tools, right? You have to set up analytics tool, that means use tools like maybe Google Analysis, maybe mix panels, or maybe case metrics, or to track relevant data, right? You may use what? Different applications to just to track the analytics, how your customers interact, how your customers retention rate, all the stuff will be recorded on that application, and it will be shown with you with a simple diagram, right? So that is, so the other one is analysis regularly. You can analyze regularly, that means regularly just review and analyze the data to identify trends and insights, right? So the other one is make what? The data driven decisions, right? Making a data driven decision, that means you have to just base your marketing strategies and adjustment on data insight rather than assumptions. You have to just test, right? So the third takeaway that we need to take from this book is what? Experimentation. Always experiment, try different approaches, that means maybe embrace a culture of experimentation, right? You have to just have the culture, develop the culture of experimenting new approach, right? Trying new methods, right? So why experimentation it matters? Why it matters? So marketing is not just a one size fit all approach, right? So what works for one product or audience may not work for another, so you have to try different approaches to better at something, right? That is how to implement this what culture of experimentation, how we are going to develop if we have not, right? The first one is develop hypotheses, guys. Always try to develop hypotheses, formulate hypotheses about what may improve your marketing outcomes, right? And also the second is you have to design experiments, right? Meaning you have to just create a test to validate this hypothesis. This could include what? A/B testing, different message, maybe channels or strategies, right? That is the other one is measure results. You may have the chance to measure the results, that means analyze the result of these tests to see what works best, right? You may measure the result, right? You may validate the results to really understand what works well or what's not, just right. Then after you may need to iterate, right? You may need to iterate, or you may use the insights gained from this experimentation to just refine your approach and to just run new tests, right? That is, so example, you may just test different email subject lines and just creative right landscape page design or social media content to see what generates the best engagement and conversion rate, right? So that is, so the fourth takeaway that we take from this book is what? Leverage platforms. You may need to leverage those platforms, YouTube, Google, all that social platforms, social media. You may leverage it, right? You may utilize existing platforms and networks, right? So you have to just when you do this, when you just try to leverage those social platforms or different platforms, you may choose the right platforms. You may need all this, right? You have to choose the right platform that you that fits with your product and fits with the customers that are engaging, right? In which platform your customers are engaging, right? You got to understand all that stuff, right? So maybe you may need to identify where your target audience spend their time online, right? Whether it may be YouTube or maybe Facebook, maybe TikTok. You may need to identify those things with all those ingredients, right? So this includes social media networks, maybe forums or other online communities, right? So how to do this, right? How to choose the right platforms, right? The first step that help us to just to choose the right platform is what? Build presence, right? You may need to just build a presence, right, in social media or different platforms. That means you have to just establish a strong presence on these platforms by creating what? A profile and regularly posting what? Relevant content, relevant video, relevant ideas, right? You gotta just be involved. You gotta build a presence, strong presence, right? The second step that help us to choose the right platform is what? Engage with community, right? Engagement with the community. That means you may need to participate in discussion and maybe answer questions and maybe engage with what users in a meaningful way. You may interact with users with a comment with different ways, right? You may need all the stuff, right? Those the third steps that help us is what? Collaborate with influencer. You may need to what? Collaborate, work with what? Influencers. That means partners with influencers or maybe thought leaders in your industry to amplify your reach, right? That is example maybe what? Just using Instagram to reach what? Right, young audience, right? LinkedIn for business to business marketing, or maybe ready to engage with what? Niche community, right? By this thing you can do all this stuff, right? The fifth takeaway that we need to take from this book, what is what? You have to optimize for virality, right? Once you use social media, you have to optimize for virality, to become viral, to become the top, right? So you have to design for virality, right? That means maybe virality means what? Creating content or maybe experiences that people naturally want to see or want to share with others, right? The best content, that is virality mean, right? So how to just design for virality or how to optimize for virality? The first steps that help us to just design this virality or to have a very interesting and this natural just ability to be shared your content is what? The first one is create shareable content. You have to choose the shareable content. That means you have to develop content that is what? Entertaining, maybe educational or maybe emotional resonate marketing. People want to share it, right? Those things are really important, right? The other is what? Incorporate sharing features, right? You may need to incorporate sharing features, make it easy for users to share your content or products with what? Build sharing buttons and referral programs, right? So the other is what? Encourage user guaranteed content, right? So that means you have to foster a community where users create what? And share what? Their own content related to your products, right? Example maybe viral marketing campaigns like LS, I see budget challenge, or referral programs like Dropbox, maybe, which incentivizes users to invite friends for extra storage space, right? That is, so the sixth is what? Iterative improvement, right? Iterative improvement. you may just continuously iterate and improve, right? You made to do all the stuff, right? Why iterative matters? The market, technology, and customers' preference are just constantly changing. Staying adaptable is crucial, right? So what are step how that help us to just iterate to improve, iterate improvement, or help us to continuously iterate and improve, right? The first is collect feedback. Always try to collect the feedback, right? That means the market, technology need to be just collect the information, right? That means you have to regularly seek what feedback from customers through what survey, maybe review, or direct communication, right? By doing all this stuff, you may need to collect feedback, you may need to collect information about your product, right? So the other way that help us to continuously iterate and improve is what? Analyze results, right? Evaluate your results. That means you have to continuously monitor the performance or the progress of your marketing efforts and identify areas for improvement, right? That is so the third step that help us to continuously iterate and improve is what implement change, right? Implement the change. That means based on just feedback and data, make necessary adjustment to your strategies and tactics, right? That is so by doing all this stuff you can just continue to iterate and just improve the product that you have, right? So the seven step or seven takeaways that we need to take from this book is what? Focus on retention, right? Focus on retention. That means prioritize retaining and engaging existing customers, right? So that means you have to just retain customers is often what? More cost effective than what? Acquiring a new one, right? So maybe loyal customers can also become just advocates for your brand, right? So that is so how we are going to focus on retention, or how we are going to prioritize retaining and engaging existing customers. The first step maybe provide excellent customers service, right? By providing what? Excellent what? Customer service, right? You may need to ensure your customers have a positive experience with your product and support team, right? So and the other is what? Engage regularly, right? By engaging regularly, that means keep in touch with your customers through email, just newsletter, right? And maybe social media and other channels, right? The other may be what? Offer value. By offering value, you may just retain your customers, right? Right, continuously just offer value through what? Updated just exclusive content and the special offer, right? By doing all that stuff you can just retain your customers, right? The other method that help us to retain your customer is what? Build a community, right? By building a community, strong community, that means create just a sense of what? Community around your products and ensuring customers to just to interact with each other and just your brand, right? By doing all this stuff you can just have a better product and which is market fit, and that you can just succeed in your business, in your product, right? This is all the takeaways that we need to take from this book. So I got it, it's just so much interesting, so just read it more